Jones, the ASO over here. Thank you all for coming, and for everyone joining us virtually. Thank you for tuning in. This will be our traffic safety pause. The genesis of this, unfortunately, Wing 11 has had recent incidents, specifically motorcycle incidents that were pretty severe. So we thought it prudent to take a pause and see what we can do to mitigate the threats on the road. As we all know, that's one of the riskiest things we do from our day-to-day life is getting to and from work. So to kick this off, we have Petty Officer Cole, who will go over the traffic safety.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, Petty Officer Cole, I'm part of the safety team here at NAS Jax. We're going to go ahead and get started with traffic safety. So, according to the Transportation Research Board, 25,000 children are injured annually, and more than 100 are killed on average while walking to or from school. That's a lot. Slow down speed limits in school zones tend to be 5 to 10 below what the actual speed limit is for the street. So keep that in mind, and also bear in mind that the reduced speed zones will have yellow flashing lights with the posted speed when those active school times are going on. Next slide. This is just a quick depiction of with how fast you're going, your perceptive distance, reaction, and then braking distance, how long it would take at any given speed. It's how long it's going to take you to react at any given speed to come to a complete stop. So this is the reason why in school zones the driving speed is reduced. Next slide. So illegal passing is not a victimless crime. 22 surveys showed that on a single day, over 7,800 illegal passes were made from 6,400 school bus drivers that took part in the survey. This is through the state of Florida. So the law is designed to keep children safe as they're getting on and off the bus. It requires you to stop, and I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of this. Whenever a school bus comes to a stop, the stoplight and the sign starts actuating, it's going. Cars on both sides are supposed to stop. Now, the only exception to that would be is if you're driving on the opposite side and there's a median separating, so paved or unpaved separation between the left and the right side of the road. Next slide. So various penalties based on illegal passing. There's a couple different ways it can be dished out. First would be if there's a officer around, he sees you illegally passing, he's going to pull you over, give you a ticket. Another way that you may not have known, if you took a look at the safety newsletter, the school districts in Florida have now passed a law regarding the districts themselves being allowed to put cameras on the buses. So, if you're illegally passing, they can take a picture of your license plate and they can forward it to law enforcement, and then they would issue the citation from there. So this is meant to keep drivers accountable for illegally passing. Next slide. This is just a quick depiction right here. The left picture, 2-lane, both sides stop. The middle picture right here, multi-lane. Because you can turn left or right from that center divided lane, both sides are supposed to stop. And then on the right side, where you see paved or unpaved, that's where only the side the school bus is on needs to stop. And the bottom here kind of depicts all the verbiage that goes with each one of these pictures. Next slide. So motor vehicle tips, always check your blind spots. You don't know where motorcycles are going to be, if there's cars in your blind spots, so you always want to make sure you're being deliberate in what you're checking. Stay in your lane. Again, motorcycles are entitled to their own lane, so you cannot get into their lane partially or at all. They're entitled to that whole space. Intersections are danger zones, so always follow the safety protocol for those. Stoplights, stop signs. Watch for turning motorcycles. They tend to be very limited with their mobility at times, depending on if there's adverse road conditions, anything like that. So they may need more space to be able to stop and react to those situations. And take a second look at left turns. Motorcycles are smaller, so it's gonna be really easy to miss them if you're not paying attention to them. Next slide. And this kind of just doubles down on it. Double check for traffic intersections before you turn. Leave at least 4-second distance between your car and the motorcycle in front of you. When passing a motorcycle, give the full lane to the motorcycle. Do not drive distracted. Distracted driving is anything that takes your attention away from the road. And avoid driver fatigue and keep your eyes moving. Scan. After a crash involving motorcycle drivers often say, I didn't see him. So again, talk about that scan, being aware, right? They're often hidden behind spots, masked objects, trees, bushes, that sort of stuff. Assume the motorcycle is closer than it appears. Again, they tend to have limited mobility. Do not expect that motorcyclists will always be able to maneuver out of the way. Just because they can be more agile does not mean it's the safest thing for them to do so. And then depending on road conditions, motorcycle may take longer to stop. As I stated, motorcyclists often slow down by downshifting or rolling off the throttle, so you may not even see brake lights. That's why being aware of where they are in relation to your vehicle will help keep them safe. And when you watch for motorcycles, see more than the motorcycle, see the person behind it, right? It's more than just a vehicle. There's someone who's actually in danger when you're not paying attention to where they are. Has anyone in here been in a red light? They've seen a motorcycle kind of like skirting between cars to get to the front of the line at a red light? Has that ever made any of you frustrated?
Florida.
It's legal in California.
It's illegal here. It's illegal here.
Did you know there's a reason they do that?
For safety.
Yeah. So they're doing it to keep themselves safe. And the idea is they're making themselves more visible to people when they're doing that. So just so you're aware. Next slide. And then we have motorcycle safety representatives. We have ICC Thomas, AD1, and on Jacksonville side, we have AWO1 Brigham. Any questions?
Question.
Yes.
So that lane splitting you just mentioned, is that legal in the state of Florida?
It's illegal.
No.
It's illegal in Florida.
It
Yes.
is illegal?
Yes.
It is definitely illegal in the state of Florida. Everybody says, oh, it's California, but yes, it is illegal in Florida.
Sir.
Not a question, but a comment. Since a lot of the tips were about, trying to be more vigilant and like look for motorcycles because we haven't even see them. I don't think it should be lost that if I'm giving more attention or like looking for an extra second, that's also me yourself. That's less time that your eyes are forward also. So, I mean, I think your own personal life is still the most important thing. So, don't compromise your attention because you're just trying to find these motorcycles necessarily. Like, there's got to be a balance there.
Yes, sir.
Like, if I'm checking my blind spot longer than I normally would to find a motorcycle, I don't necessarily know that's the right answer.
There's definitely going to be a balance there. I agree, sir. All right. Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Something to note, the last 3 incidents we've had here at Win 11, all 3 were determined to be not the motorcyclist's fault. And what that means is that it's normally one of the car drivers that is making a mistake. So don't just think, hey, it's probably the motorcyclist's fault that they got into an accident or something happened. It could be anyone's fault. So you have to stay vigilant. Also, I believe 7 of the last 8 were all determined not to be the motorcyclist's fault. So what we have up here, ASAP review. Some of the aircrew probably remember this. We were able to cover it on the pre-deployment pause, but I wanted to let maintenance and know, as well as support, just by a show of hands, who knows what ASAP is? Okay. Who has personally used it in the past year? Okay, yes, good, some good participation. For those of us that don't know what that is, ASAP is a tool for us to send either anonymous or non-anonymous reports up to safety and through safety to skipper about safety concerns in the squadron, whether they're with the plane or with some sort of infrastructure or just workplace hazards, to make us aware. And it also gives you a voice to say what solutions you have to the problem that you see as well. If it's anonymous, then we just address it as we can, but if you make it non-anonymous, we could actually work with you to figure out the best way forward. So I highly encourage you to use it. We've seen the fruits of ASAP in the squadron already with the GMVO radios and with the hangar floor. So please, if you see hazards, you see issues, please bring it up with ASAP. What this brief is here for is to review some of the ASAPs that you all have submitted and understand what we're trying to do to either mitigate the hazards or work on to improve some of the issues in the squadron. Next slide. These are the recent ASAP concerns, and we're continuing to get them, so we'll make updates as we go. Next slide. First one is manning. Who here thinks that manning is an issue in the squadron? I figured as much. And the Navy at large understands that manning is an issue. So this is something we're going to face and continue to face. But how it affects our squadron might be different than how it affects other squadrons, and that's the important thing to voice as we move forward, so that big Navy can understand why VUP issues are more meaningful than perhaps other squadrons. So some of the ASAPs we've seen, we've encapsulated here. A lot of it has to do with the amount of workload, with the amount of people we have. So some mitigations. So we're already taking these ASAPs and using them as ammunition to ask for more billets. And again, the more specific you can be with your ASAPs, the better we can voice it up to the higher-ups, especially when it affects our operations. Other things we've done, we're implementing shift work, and we're still working through that, working through the kinks. But that is a strategy we're using to try to make better use of the people we have, so it doesn't affect everyone significantly where they can't get a good balance with their work life. Next slide. Late schedule adjustments. Again, this is another problem we're working on. The reason for this has to do with many things. The dynamic nature of our schedule, a lot of the constraints that drone flights have, vice other manned flights, means that we have to be a little bit more flexible. But that doesn't mean we can't implement strategies to mitigate and try to get the schedule out sooner. So again, shift work is a big one. Again, we're still working through it, but with the 7th Fleet orbit, which is a bit more stable, we're starting to get positive feedback with shift work on that, and then we're still working the make work side. And then also better communication. I think we've all seen how degraded communication can hurt the right people getting the right information, and that can delay the schedule. And us being split between not only Mayport and Jacksonville, but also Guam, different time zones, this is going to be a challenge we're just going to have to work through. So please continue to ASAP this if you see issues, and then if you have recommendations as well, put that in. Next slide. Aircraft discrepancies. It's no secret that the QC for this aircraft is substandard. We've actually taken some of these ASAPs and brought it to PMA as well as the Naval Safety Command. So they're both tracking on this, and we're starting to see some action on their part to help improve the quality control of the aircraft we're getting. And then also, specifically, some of our ASAPs had to do with concerns not getting to the air crew. So there were discrepancies that we were not sure were resolved to the point where we could actually take the aircraft. And safety took that on, and we are starting to work both between maintenance and ops to make sure that doesn't happen, and that the signing UAC does have the all the information they need to make the right decisions. Next slide. Then high op tempo. We hear this one a lot, and we get a lot of ASAPs about it. And again, this is one of those issues that is Navy-wide, asking more from what we have. So it's very similar to the Manning issue. Mitigations for high op tempo though, hosting these safety pauses, being able to talk through what issues we're having, bringing up those issues. Hey, op tempo affected my life in this way. This way safety can take that and find solutions to those problems. More deliberate ORM, so this is more on the aircrew side, but it is applicable throughout all of our jobs. Understanding what risks we're taking when we have a more consistent flight schedule or more saturated flight schedule, and being able to work through those risks at the appropriate level to understand when it's the right time to say no, or when it's the right time to say, no, I can make this work. Right. So that's it for the ASAPs. Are there any questions? Or any safety concerns you'd like to bring up now? Okay, with that, that's all we had for today. CMC, XO, Skipper, do you have anything?
Yep, just like to add a concern to, not concern, but an input to go with motorcycle safety. The biggest thing with motorcycle safety is everybody has to be aware. Great add-on Lieutenant Chain brought up, don't put yourself in a situation, but if you talk to most people that had an accident with a motorcycle, guaranteed it would take one more second just to look around for a motorcycle. I guarantee that person would say, yeah, especially if the person got hurt. So I have never met a person in a car that had been in an accident and said they looked too many times and got in an accident. Usually because of cell phones and other distractions in your car. So it's just trying to get the word out about motorcycles. Motorcycles have always been I wouldn't say a problem, but people have been down on motorcycles a long time. So we just have to get smarter about taking the extra look or whatever we do in the cars to make sure we are a parent. The other thing is, motorcycle safety comes down to new people with motorcycles. Everybody wants a motorcycle because I guess it looks cool and everybody wants one. There's a lot of training that you can get outside of town and on base that you can get these trainings. I'm not sure, yes.
About the on-base training, Chief, as of right now, the last class that the Southeast region for the Navy is going to hold for motorcycle safety will be the 30th of September. After that, the Southeast region will no longer be holding motorcycle endorsement and training on the base.
Gotcha.
Because of budget cuts. But any of the Harley Amex dealerships in town, St. Augustine, we get, military gets a 50% discount on the training. It's usually like $110. We get it for $92.
Gotcha.
For the training if you want to learn how to ride, and it's a really good course. Even if you don't end up buying a bike, it's a good course to know.
Yes.
So you know what the rest of us that ride have to deal with.
Gotcha. So motorcycle training is great investment. I took it a long time ago when I rode a motorcycle, and it's a great points you get when you're going through these motorcycle safety. So the reason it's training, it's not for, we had a fatality, we just had one for VP8, but it's because every summer, it's motorcycles, everybody in Florida, it's hot, everybody want a motorcycle, so it's just to get the aware motorcycle safety, to make sure, because at the end goal, we want everybody here to be able to go home to their loved ones, come to work, go home to their loved ones, and do what they do in their life and be safe. So this is the point of safe stand down. So.
Just to, I don't want to echo too much what CMC said, but VP8 we lost a sailor. Last year we also lost a sailor, and guess what? It was not a motorcycle rider's fault, right? It was all the other regular driver's fault. For this specific case, he was just driving along, and there was this car in an intersection, didn't look left or right, pop out of nowhere and T-boned it, right? So the fatal incident happened. How many of you ride motorcycle here? Do we all go through wing training?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's really like not about, I mean, we emphasize motorcycle, but it's all about traffic safety. It's all on you. Like, don't be that guy or girl accidentally kill someone. It's just not worth it. Right? Let's just be careful. Next thing I want to talk about is an ASAP, right? So manning, up tempo, all this stuff. Yeah, I hear it loud and clear. Every time I see that ASAP report, I hear it loud and clear. I got it, right? Speaking about manning though, like we as a big Navy, we're short on 18,000 sailors compared to what we're supposed to have. So this manning issue is not just us, it's throughout the entire Navy issue. And we have a whole lot more rate of people getting separated, whether voluntarily or involuntarily. Mental health increase, drug usage increase. So we're losing a lot of sailors too, right? So this doesn't help our cause. Our maintenance manning wise, we went from 39 people per RMD down to 32 RMD. But the PAA or the number of aircraft is going up to 4. Right? Air crew wise, we got 8 crew per orbit, 2.3 pilots, 1 tackle, and 2 MPO. That's it. It's not enough, but this is what we got, right? It's not easy. We're just gonna have to continue to tweak what we have and find the best way to operate it. It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There's some good and bad feedback on the shift work, but continue to bring that up so we can make it better product, right? And as far as the maintenance too, we got spread it all over the place right now. In the maintenance world, we have about 4.5 RMD qualification right now. Is that right, QAO?
Right around there,
Right.
sir.
So the number wise, 1.0 RMD in Guam, so 0.5 RMD per each shift, right? So 16 people per shift, and we got 0.5 RMD in Wake, 0.5 RMD supposed to go to Magoo. They're back home right now because 307 is still up in PAX. We have another 1 RMD up in PAX River. So to the math, those are 3 RMD, and Mayport is left with 1.5 RMD. If I use all of them, all qualified people, 0.5 each, I can do day-night mitch. But we merged it into just day and nights because of like what's going on in Mayport right now. There's not, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing going on, but there's not a whole lot compared to what we used to, right? So Mayport kind of wind down, but the problem is all the other qualifiers who can qualify more people are all over the place. And that's why we're so emphasizing trying to get this 307 Cal complete so we can send 307 out, bring Pax River home, bring Magoo home, and bring Wake Island home. Oh, by the way, Wake Island just got hit by typhoon again. It wasn't as bad as it used what we predicted. Last minute it changed the big course up to north, and it became downgraded to tropical storm. So it wasn't that bad, but like these are the risks that we're facing. It. The longer we wait, these team out there will have to stay there longer, and we got less people in Mayport to qualify new people. So, like all these concerns from air crew to maintenance, it's not easy. We're all suffering through this together. We're gonna make it work. Right? So, as far as an op tempo goes, the biggest benefit that we are trying to make it work is the shift work. So, no matter how ops will put the flight pro, it will not impact your life. You will just show up on time and you get off on time. Is the goal that we're gonna work on. Right. So with that, I wanna open up the floor to everybody. I wanna use next 20-30 minutes or so to talk about safety, any concerns that you have, anything you wanna bring up, anything. Floor is yours. No?
At this time, Skipper opened up the floor for discussion of any concerns from the squadron. Out of an abundance of caution and OPSEC, I will now just go through them real quickly. You're more than welcome to reach out to your chain of command and discuss in more depth of these items, but Skipper is addressing them and has addressed them at the safety stand down, but here they are. Then he discussed the situation with China and our position as a squadron, the Navy retention the shooter manning on our carriers and how it concerns our aircrew, the NGC aircraft delivery condition, the supply system and the stockpile of our IFC3 and IFC4 transition items, the product performance of Triton, the signing and issuing of WSPD document and what that affected our command by, how shift work is going, and how he also said to please continue to push those ASAPs for any of these items as they come up. He'd also discussed admin and IT coverage during the shift work. You can also reach out to ITs via the IT Slack channel 24/7, which is always being manned, and they will help you out. Admin has coverage of certain hours during every shift. Skipper also was addressed with the current SE for SRP and the items that will be needed and how they're going to be funded by PMA. The gear that is in wake and how that affects Guam and our future endeavors in Kadena. It was also discussed of our weather divert intentions and SOP for Kadena. Some items were addressed with Minotaur, and then also the VQ1 sundowning and how that will affect our manning in the future. As always, with these items, Skipper encourages you to reach out to your chain of command and also push out ASAPs as they come up.
But that's all I got. Last minute. All right. You all have a great day.
Attention on deck.
Hurry up.